first of all, thank you, Rishad, for being here. I think we've worked for 5 months now. So from July, we started campaigns. We did have an earlier conversation in June, but obviously it took some time to warm up the infrastructure. But since July, we've had 4 months of total sending, even though we've worked 5 months. When we exclude the weekends, when we haven't sent anything, everything that we've done so far has been in total 4 months. Um, so I'm really just trying to understand now, and for everyone who might be watching this video, what does NextBuild do? How would you describe the service, like in a couple of sentences?
Yeah, so at NextBuild, I build minimal viable products or MVPs, which are typically web apps or mobile apps. And I say MVPs because sometimes a product team or a startup or a solo founder wants to build something and just test it out with a small audience, or maybe even raise funds with it. It just depends on their needs. So that's essentially what I do. And then I help with the product research, the design, obviously fulfill the development, and then provide post-launch support. And then sometimes we keep iterating long-term if the product is a success. So yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And in terms of outbound, what were you doing before, kind of before working with us? Were you doing like DMs, email, even cold calling?
Yeah, I mean, since I'm kind of running this all myself, it's been challenging to do both service fulfillment and lead generation, whether it's inbound, outbound, etc. As far as inbound goes, I would say I was trying to do a bit of basic SEO. I mean, that wasn't going anywhere. I had a basic website in place. As far as outbound goes, I was trying to network in groups, trying to see on LinkedIn people looking for gigs, cold DM them, that kind of thing. Sometimes if the LinkedIn message didn't go anywhere, that's when I would like cold email. But again, it's like a one-on-one cold email, not at scale. So yeah, it was pretty rough, to be honest. I've messed around with tools like Instantly and I think maybe a couple of others, but I understood different parts of the cold email infrastructure, but I never had the time and capacity to just put everything together and like try running something. So I'm glad you came along and just helped me get going with that.
So you would say the main frustration was the timing and effort that it took, or?
Yeah, it is. It is challenging because I know, especially now with all this AI stuff going on, like you see all these people posting about like, hey, download this N8N build and it'll just automate things for you. But it's a lot more than that. It's like, picking the leads, and it's kind of a art almost. So yeah, that's where I think the big time constraint is.
Okay. And so obviously this was your situation before. I mean, a lot of people were in this. I also before I even started the business, I was doing manual outbound as well. So I know how time consuming it is, especially tying it into when you are doing the service delivery and doing the other tasks as well. So that's kind of the main frustration that a lot of business owners have. Now, in terms of where you even found about us, like how did you even find about Verge Lead and like our service in general?
Yeah, so it's kind of strange. I was doing this, so I think from time to time I've been like, exploring, ways to get into cold email again, like, try and actually like stick to it somehow. And I think I was looking on YouTube for cold email, but I was looking very specifically for like software development agencies because um, there's this myth and notion that it doesn't work for software development or it's saturated or whatever the people think. So I was just looking to see if there was like, just a email template I could try and see like, is someone doing this? Is there like an offer that works? And then I think that's where I found I mean, that is definitely where I found your video. But I think even within the video, what I think got my attention was that whole offer of kind of personalizing it and personalizing it at scale. I think that's where that got my attention, and decided to book a call from there.
You found me through YouTube, you saw the content, you was like, okay, this seems interesting enough to at least hop on a call and learn more. We began working together, I would say, pretty quickly because you obviously knew what you wanted to do. I mean, if a person doesn't believe that cold email works, then it's way harder for them to even start personally working with me, because it's like, okay, there is a whole kind of belief that has to be shifted to make them see that, okay, this is a viable channel. Because obviously we don't disregard cold calling, we don't disregard paid ads, but cold email is really good. I'm gonna ask you how do you interpret that, but like it's been really good for us to just connect with decision makers at scale and just know, okay, this is the type of buyer that we want to target. And even if we are testing different verticals, which we have, which we test multiple verticals by this point, we kind of quickly understand, okay, this works better than the others, so let's just kind of try to focus on that one. So as I said, we've been sending for about 4 months when we exclude the weekends. And in these 4 months, kind of what have you noticed as, meetings booked, just more on the outbound side? Like, what did it look like on your end in terms of uh, how your business improved, or like areas of your life that improved?
Yeah, I would say I think the big thing is it pushed me to start having systems in place. So things like automating, obviously, the leads coming in, having a proper CRM, which like I went back and forth with a few. Even something as simple as having a meeting recorder, not just for the sake of it, because everyone does it, but because I can actually get the value of taking the transcript, maybe running it through AI and getting the the valuable information that I need to follow up or inform whatever I'm going to do next with it. So all those little things have been important, and then yeah, that's just pushed me to get processes in place, and I even took the information I got from the calls in terms of what's important to people, and I revamped my website landing page, which I had just like a basic version initially, but I figured, okay, now I feel a lot more confident in my offer because it's working on these calls, and yeah, I just figured it would be better for my credibility to just put that on there, make it clear, and then as of I think yesterday, like another lead I spoke to uh, made me realize I need to update my pitch deck now because that's what I use on the calls. And there was something like he said that stood out. I was like, oh, instead of talking about this, I just need to highlight this a bit more because it was a pretty basic question he asked me. I could just put on there and it would have been much clearer. So yeah, I mean, things are happening all the time in that sense. And then I think what's been a lot of fun for me too is just trying all these different verticals and
Mhm.
seeing what people respond to, seeing where the demand is, and I honestly get so many leads. Like I'm bad at following up. Like I mean, I was really bad in the beginning, but
It's a good problem to have, but yeah, it's still a
yeah,
problem.
yeah, it's still a bit of a problem, but it's probably as good as it's been so far. But I mean, I can go back to my list, and there's like a lot of leads from like a few months ago even that still need follow up.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a good problem to have, like you said. But yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of when the offer is good. Obviously, you spoke about kind of how it helps you tailor, not tailor, but like change the other parts of your business, like the sales process, the landing page, the pitch deck, and all that. But just from the get-go, from the front end of the funnel, for you specifically, for your MVP offer, mainly we've been targeting about 3 to 4 verticals, and we've had more than 230 leads by this point, which we last checked instantly our sending tool, out of which 83 were direct bookings in these 4 months of sending. So that just goes to show that an offer is broad, or you call an offer broad only if you can't make it work, because a lot of people think that software development and marketing as an offer is pretty hard to pitch on a cold email or a cold call. But we kind of, maybe you can agree or disagree on this, but I think we've kind of proved the opposite just by the sheer amount of volume that has come in from just the initial 3 4 months.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. And I think what's helped is some of that personalization at scale that we can now do with AI. I think, maybe previously I can understand where people say that because you send the same email to everyone, to like a million people, it gets saturated. But I think with AI now, you can, use tools like Clay and put things together, and, you can really personalize the outbound campaigns. So I'd say it's almost no excuse at this point to start leveraging all of that.
Awesome, awesome. I think it makes sense. What you mentioned is like if everything is tied in together, then the process is just way smoother. And a lot of people still, by this date, misinterpret AI and how it can be used. As long as you keep personalization done right and you do it for every person um, in a right and appropriate and respectful manner, I think doing campaigns that are 1, 2, 3,000 emails a day doesn't seem that scary if you know that every message that you send is relevant to the receiver. Sometimes people get scared by these big numbers, and when I mention, we can send 2,000 emails a day, it's like, okay, is that going to hurt our brand reputation? Is that going to do any other harm? Have you noticed any negatives on that side? I mean, from the calls that you've had, people being like just angry, frustrated, or
No, so I've actually been surprised where people have replied sometimes in the email, but this has happened more on the call itself, where they said like, I took this call because I was just impressed with your cold email. That's happened 2 3 times at least. So yeah, I'd say it's been largely positive. I think if there's been anything negative, it's maybe they just didn't reply or something like that. It's like I don't even know what the negative bit is. Yeah, so I haven't seen anything negative come from it. It's just been all positive, and I think it's because the email is very focused on like solving their problem and what's important to them, and then it gets their attention, and yeah, that's what I think has helped a lot.
Yeah. And one last question for anyone that may be doing MVP build outs or just software development in general, or they have a SaaS product. They might be watching this, hearing kind of your experience, but they also might be on the fence whether it would work for them. From your personal experience, like how likely are you to just recommend us and say, hey, if you want to try cold email, this is a viable option?
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. Definitely recommend having them work with you. What I would say is just make sure that you have just like your ducks in a row in some sense. Like you can make it work financially. You can make it work in terms of time and to like follow up with the leads, because like I said, I had a bit of trouble with that initially. And then another thing I've had a historically trouble with, and not so much now, is just that whole coming up with an offer. And I know with development, there's the temptation to do like 10 different things because there's so many programming languages, there's so many problems to solve. So I would say, even if you can't narrow down on like one concrete offer, whether it's like MVPs or web apps, mobile apps, whatever, just like maybe narrow it down to like 2 or 3, and then that'll help you with getting the most out of cold email, because you have a more or less narrow offer that you can then pitch to thousands of people a day. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, thank you so much for the kind words, Rishad. I really wanted to have this meeting because I believe we've just worked very well together, and I believe there's a lot of people who might be interested to hear this out, especially if they're in software in any sense. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best at NextBuild.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot.